Hello and welcome to the first in a series about how to create a tower defense game using the PICO-8 fantasy console. It's going to be an intermediate course designed for those that know a thing or two about PICO-8. I will be talking a little bit about PICO-8 and what it is and how it works, but I would suggest that before you tackle this course, maybe just get the hang of the basics and how it works and the various tools and features that it has before you kind of plow into this. I'd say it's a beginner intermediate style course. We'll be talking about a few things. But today, really, what we're going to be doing is really just getting started, getting a main menu up, talking about one of the key concepts, which is state management. Now, you may have seen this in other games, but it's key. It's one of the key things, kind of, to making a good infrastructure for your games, to make it scalable and allow you to, not get spaghetti code too much game states. I'm going to quickly just show you what a game state is. If you've not seen one of these before. Game states are, as the name suggests, basically at any point a game would be in a given state. So you might have something along the lines of the main menu, right? So this is a state where it's not noob menu. There we go. Where it's showing the main menu. It's showing the list of options that you've got, and you can imagine one of those options might be that you can say a new game, please. So you'd end up with a game state. Okay, so you'll be able to go from the menu to the game over here. So just grab that and put that there. You have a game, right? And it might equally be possible to go from the menu to an options menu. We could call that main menu, but you might have an options choice here as well. So let's get that in there. Options, something like that, right? And you can, kind of obviously, you need to be able to get back as well. So you might have this. You might be able to get to the options here. And then the options, obviously, you can get back to the main menu as well, and so from the game, right? So they're all of these states at any one time. You're only even in one state at a time. So you may be in the menu state, the options state, or the game state. But one thing to bear in mind is that the game state may actually be there may be more than one, right? So you may have another game state called between levels or something like that, right? But terrible text. Let's just make that a bit smaller, shall we? 14, 16, I don't know, whatever, 20. There we go, right? So this would be when in a tower defense game where you would you're laying your turrets down ready for the next wave. So the game here, there might be multiple game states, right? So that you can have between levels, the game where the wave is coming, and there might even be a wave called something like end of level complete, right? So you have another one here called level complete. What have we got over here? I don't know. Pick up 36 and say level complete. It's a good choice. Is that still fitting on my thing here? Yeah, just about, isn't it? Yeah, so you have that. Just grab that in there, pull it in like that, and then so all of these different states can cross between each other. All right. So as long as you're thinking this out, as long as you're thinking this through early, you should be okay with actually being able to create your game in a pretty successful way, right? So, and also just so you're aware as well, there are things ways you can do to transition between these. If you might imagine that if you went from the menu to the game, it would just bang, it would go straight to the game menu. So you'll see things in things like Unity where you might have a fade in and fade out, right? Well, PICO-8 can't do that, but you can imagine you can do things like that. So this is what we're going to be doing, okay? In this fantasy console called PICO-8. So it's a very lightweight programming console that you can use. It's not free. It's $15. It's not. There is an educational version. I'll also put a link to that in the description that you can play around with. It's not. I think there are some limitations. I could be wrong, or maybe there aren't any limitations. Maybe you can't load things from it. So consider purchasing it. It's well worth it. I've had so much fun with it. You think of that, $15 is nothing. I know a lot of you people are going to struggle to get $15, but maybe you could play with the educational version, which I will send a link to. But hopefully you can find a way to purchase that and crack on with that. So I'm going to sort of talk through what I'm doing. Like I say, I hope that some of this stuff is already known to you. What you can do when you've started it is you can press Escape, which brings you into the code editor. And up here you've got a few options. You've got the code editor. You can click on here for the Sprite editor. You see, so it's got a Sprite editor built in. It's got a map editor. Okay, so this is where you can actually edit your map. It's got a sound editor. You can create sounds, and you can create music as well. You can string all your sounds together to create music. And we will be creating some sounds for this. I don't know if we'll be creating much music, but we'll see how we go. See how we go as the game's coming on. The like a lot of game engines, these things have loops. Okay, and key functions. One of the key functions is init. Okay, so these are named underscore init using a language called Lua. Function underscore init is the function that gets called when the program starts. So this is where you want to initialize any variables you've got. Maybe set any sprites, stuff like that. That's what you would do there. The function underscore update runs every frame, and this is a 30 frames per second console. It tries its damnedest to consistently run at 30 frames a second. It will sacrifice draws. The next one, hang on, let me show you that, which is the next one. Okay, this is also called 30 times a second. Okay, assuming that the updates can finish in time. I think it sacrifices the draw if it can do more updates. I hope I've got that around the right way. I think that's the case. Yeah, it may not, it will try. If it can't update and draw at the same 30 times a second, it will do 2 updates or something like that. So hopefully that's not going to be a concern for us. We're not writing heavy code here that should challenge this system. There is, by the way, a way that you can make it run 60 frames a second, and that is by using a function called update 60. Okay, so it's a different function. We don't need to do that. This is a tower defense game. This isn't anything particularly that needs a high frame rate. Okay. Now, the next concept I want to talk to you about is that of functions and references to functions. This is kind of a cool thing. Actually, in a lot of modern languages now, I think C# as well. In Unity, you can get this. But you usually have a variable that's a reference to a variable that is an integer, or it could be a float, or it could be a Boolean. In Lua, there's a concept that you can have an actual reference to another function. And this is really rather useful for our state management. Let's just get in the what should we call this? Pico defense? Pico defense. And by White Art Shark. There we go. White Art Shark there, right? Okay. This, by the way, there's this concept of carts, they call them, which creates a little image for you. A Pico game is actually a PNG file. Can you believe that? So you can actually make it a graphic that has the game inside it. How about that? You're limited to the size as well. You can see here you've got this thing called tokens, and things like saying A equals 2. I don't see how actually you can highlight it. It'll tell you how many tokens it uses. That uses 3 tokens. I think that's because it's an assignment, right? So you've got a variable, an equals, which uses 1, and an assignment as well, which equals 1. So there are ways we can trim that down, and 8,000 tokens is okay. There is a limit on the characters on the where are we? Oh, because it's there we go. If I unselect, not that one, that one. There is also, where is it? That one, thank you. There's also a 64K or 65,535 bytes limit as well. I honestly think we're not going to be having any problems with that on this project. Okay, so we're going to be absolutely fine. But what I was saying about was the fact that you can say that you can assign a variable to a function, and what this allows us to do is say, okay, great. What we'll do in the initialization is we'll point it to the states initialization, and in the update we'll call that states update, and in the draw we'll call that states draw. Right, and we can change the reference for that function. Bear with me on this for now. Let's just create a few references. So I'm going to call it cinit, which is current init function, and we'll just call we'll just set to nil for now, which is like then nothing there, right? And we'll go cupdate equals nil, and cdraw equals nil, right? And in our update, this isn't going to work, by the way, just in case it wasn't obvious. We'll make a call to our cupdate here, and in draw, we'll make a call to cdraw. Okay, so I've gone for, and actually in our init statement, I'll also make a call to cinit as well. There we go. Okay, so when we've actually got a first state that's got all of these methods in there, we can assign them in the init function here. Okay, and you'll notice that I put the brackets here. Just keep an eye on that. Okay, so let's create a main menu. That's the first thing we should do, right? Because every game starts with a main menu, doesn't it? And we'll create a very, very simple one that just has something like a new and an options screen. Let's just do that for now. Okay, so if we go into, you can click on tab, you can create multiple tabs. I think you can create up to 16, I think. I'm not going to do it right now, but I think it's up to 16. But it goes 0 to 9 and then A to F, I think. So you can break your code up like that. And we'll just call this one main menu. and one of the reasons you put this in the first line is so that if you go to 0 here, you can see by hovering over it actually tells you what you put in the first comment line there. So it's quite good if you've got multiples, you can see what that tab is for. Right, so what we'll do is we'll create some functions in here. So guess what? We're going to create a function called init menu. We'll create a function called update menu, and we'll create a function called draw menu. Okay, so that is the methods that we need, the functions we need for this state. We can call other ones, of course, but these are the key ones that they're going to need. And what we can go do is now is go back to our key init here, right? And we'll call that init menu. Right, and you'll notice I don't use brackets now. That's what I was going to say about. Okay, this isn't a call to a function. This is a reference to that function. Right, and by the same token, this will be update menu, and cdraw is going to be update draw. Right, so we're not calling these. We're just saying we want this is the reference to this function that sits in this tab here. Right? Well, these aren't doing anything right now, but now what we can do is we can set these do get called every frame, right? These underscore update, underscore draws, underscore inits and stuff. They do get called every update and draw get called every frame. Init gets called once at the start. Right. So let's do this. The one thing that we can do in the draw menu, this is where the screen gets drawn. So we can start off with a CLS, which clears the screen every frame. Okay, we might want to set a color for it. Let me just click over to the sprite editor here. Let's pick a nice color that's pleasing to the eye. I'm going to go with, let's go with color 1, shall we? Let's go with color 1. And if you put CLS 1, that will literally clear the screen with that it's kind of purpley color, isn't it? Sort of a dark blue purple color there, right? So let's just run this. The reason this is going to work then is because we're making a call to cdraw, which we have called update draw, right? And we're calling the init and the update functions aren't doing anything right now, but they are there. Okay, that's the important thing. They are there. They need to be there, otherwise you're going to get some errors on references and stuff. So when I press Control R, we've got a problem. Cdraw. What have I done wrong? Let's have a look. Have I spelled it wrong? Cdraw equals update draw. Oh, it's not. It's update. It's draw menu, isn't it? Look at that. Look. Did you see that? Draw menu. There we go. Okay, sorry, I'm being thick there. Right now, if we do Control R, there we go. It's just cleared the screen for us, and that's it. That's all it's done. We've just cleared the screen with that color, which is great. But let's do one more thing. Let's go back to our menu. We don't need to go here anymore. We can stay. We can leave this alone for now. We might come back a bit later on, but now we're going to be working mainly on this tab here, the main menu tab. One thing I'll do is I will print at the top Pico defense. And then we'll say let's put it 1 pixel down and 10 across or something like that, and we'll pick a color. I think 7 is white, so let's have a quick look at that. Okay, no, it's not, sorry, the Y is it's 10 across and 1 down. Let's have a look at that. There we go. Now the first thing I like to do, all right, is be able to center my text, particularly for the main menu. So I'm going to write a function here. This is a bit of extra unnecessary, possibly, that I didn't need to do in this tutorial, but let's create a function called center text. I'm going to spell it the UK way, please be okay with that. And then we'll have the string itself that we're going to send. We'll have the Y value. We don't need the X value because it's going to center it, so we'll put SY, let's call it SY, and then the color, right, that they're going to use. Okay, and then what we need to do is we need to say, get ready for this, bear in mind that the Pico console is 128 characters wide, so what we need to do, and I think each of these is 4. 1, 2, 3 for the character, and then 1 for the space, and they're all like that. Okay, so you can see they're all 4 characters. So what we can do is we can say local, let's keep it local, local SX equals 64 minus, okay, so we're starting from the middle, and then we'll go hashtag string, which is the length of the string, times 4, all right, divided by 2. Because we're only going to halve the length of the string and take that away. Now there's a chance that could be a do you know what, I'm going to put that in brackets there because I don't know whether it's going to do the divide or the multiply first. Let's just do that there. So string times 4 for the number of characters that it uses, divide that by 2, Right, and what I'm going to do as well, I'm going to do floor, because if it was for some reason like a 0.5 or whatever, it'll round it down. Okay, and now what we should be able to do is basically copy this command here actually. Okay, so for now just say print, but we're going to say str now. Str, which was the string that was passed, sx, which we've just calculated, sy, which was the value that was sent, and the color that was sent as well. So now we can say here, center text, Pico defense. We don't need that. We don't need the X anymore. We just need the Y and the color. So let's just see how that goes. Boom, and it centered it for us. Okay, nice and easy. Now let's just do something a little bit funky with this main menu because it's it needs to pop a little bit. I'll let you guys have fun. Let's change the color every frame of this Pico defense here. So let's start with a function here. We'll call it. We'll set a variable called tcol for the title color, and we'll set it to 1, which is the dark blue there. Okay, in fact, look at that. That's the same color as the background, isn't it? Let's start it at 2, shall we? Let's start it at 2. And then what we'll do down here in our update menu, which is called every frame, we'll say tcol plus equals 1. And now what we'll do here, rather than just put 7, we'll put tcol. Now there's going to be a problem here because, as you can probably imagine, after 15 colours it's going to go to 16, colour 16, and that doesn't exist. So what you need to do in here is just say something. There's a few ways you can do if-then statements in Lua. I'm going to go with the kind of cleanest one, I guess, the most straightforward one. We'll say if tcol is greater than 15, then tcol equals 2. Basically reset it, right? Okay, and now I think if we run this, we've got ourselves a rather funky looking color menu. Well, that's good. That's good. But now that's great, but we need some menu items. So let's get them in there as well now. Well, I think what I'm going to do, the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to create a table. The kind of tables are kind of like arrays, really. I see them like that. They are pretty much, but they're pretty functional, quite strong in what you can do with them. A bit like this T is quite strong. What we're going to do is we're going to set up our possible menu options. So let's do that now. So we'll have menu options equals, and we'll open these curly braces and close them there. Right. So what menu options have we got? We're going to have a menu option called New Game, and we're going to put a comma, and we're going to have a menu option called Options, and we're going to have a menu option called Help. Okay, this is good. Right, so we've got our menu options there. Lovely. Right, and what we'll have as well, which we'll work on in a minute, we'll have what should we call it? Options selected. Well, let's call it menu items, shall we? I don't know. You're welcome to change this. I will be putting this on GitHub, by the way. I'll also put a link in the description. Equals what? Just one other thing to bear in mind. PICO-8 or Lua is a one-based system. If you're familiar with programming, most of the time now arrays start at item 0. Confusingly, some of the things like maps and XY positions start at 0, 0, but Lua starts at 1. Okay, so array index 1 or table index 1 is new game. All right, not 0. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. In our draw menu, then what I'm going to do down here, I'm not quite sure where yet, is I'm going to run a for loop, and this is a little bit funky, I think, the way they do it. The way I'm going to do it is I'm going to say hashtag menu items, which is saying then do and end. What this is saying is start at 1, which is, as you know, it's a one-based system. Do all of, and then increment I up to menu items. Do, and then what we'll do here is we'll say center text. Menu items I. Now we need to think about the Y position, right? The Y position can't be in the same place every time, so it's going to, let's try something like, and let's have a think how many pixels these are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say something like 6 times I. Right, so that's saying every move down 6 pixels each time, and we'll just make them white for now. Okay, that might work. Let's just have a go and see. Press Ctrl R. Okay, you can see it's a bit high. All right, it's a bit high. So let's have an offset I wish I'd put the offset. Tend to put stuff in the init menu. You don't have to put it in here. So we'll call it, what should we call it? Menu offset equals 40. Let's say 40. Let's say 30. Right, we can change this. Is the beauty of setting variables, you see. So now if we say 6 times I, or 6 times I plus menu offset, it moves it down a bit. Now I think they're too close together, so I'm going to change that 6 to 8, maybe 10. Let's go for 10, shall we? So they're nice and far apart. There we go. There we go. This is looking good already. Of course, it doesn't do anything. I can't. There's only a few buttons, by the way, for PICO-8. It's up, down, left, right on the cursor keys, and Z and X. So there is a 2-player option as well. So we're getting somewhere here, right? We're making good progress. One thing, this doesn't do anything yet, but you can see the menus are there. Let's put something at the bottom as well, just to make it clear what you need to do. So let's just, at the bottom here, we'll say center text again. We'll say, what you can do, by the way, they've got keys here. If you press Shift on most of the character keys, you get a different symbols. It's almost all lowercase. I think it is all lowercase when you're coding, and you've got these special uppercase symbols you can use. And one of them, Shift L is like a left arrow, and Shift R is the right arrow, and Shift U is the up, Shift D is the down. Right. So we can just say something like Shift should I say and no, not and. Look. I'll put slash down. There we go. Select. We'll put that at, I don't know, 100, and we'll keep that at 7 as well. And we'll just copy that as well, and we'll just do Shift X shows the kind of X button key to confirm. There we go. Okay, we'll put that at 110, shall we? Okay, and if you press Control R, there you go. So now you can see it's giving us some advice as well at the bottom. Again, it still doesn't do anything, but it's yeah, it does still at least show what should be happening. Right, so what do we do? Oh, I don't need that up there, do I? What do we do next? We're going to get these so that you can actually navigate them. So let's do that right now. Let's just press Escape. First thing to do is highlight the one that's actually selected. Now, the way we can do that is we can, in here, we can do something like saying, what should we call it? We'll call it selected color. Okay. No, let's just start with, item col. No, let's do it here. So we'll say item col equals 7, right? And then we'll say if, okay, I equals, if we go back up here, we set the thing to item selected, then we'll say item col equals, we're going to change the color to something else. Let's try yellow, which is color 10, right? We can always change these later on. Item equals 10, right? And now, and then you'll notice, oh, by the way, you notice I did it slightly differently now. It's on the same line, okay? If you put these in brackets, then you can keep it on the same line. So you've got different options on the if-then statements. And then what was it called? Item col, right? I think that's going to work. And then I press Control R, and you'll see that the top option is yellow. How about this? We're flying, right? We're flying. We've got a system. Now we need the ability to change those menu items. Let's do that. Let's do that in the update statement. Okay. We've got our little function here to update the main menu, the main title. So now let's start responding to some input. And the way you do that is you use the if button p, btn p. Okay. There's two ways you can capture button presses. One is BTN, which basically, if you've got your finger down, it will keep registering at every frame. Button P or BTNP it has a bit more of a gap to it. I think you have to lift up and go down again for it to work. And this is a really nice feature as well. If you actually press Shift D, it actually shows that actual button, right, for down, Shift U for up, Shift L for left, Shift R for right. So I'm always using those rather than, they're also numeric as well. I'll put a link to the cheat sheet in here so you can see that as well. Okay, so button P down, right, and then we'll say then is it item selected plus equals 1, right, and then we can also say else if button P, I'm just going to type it, Shift U, then item selected minus equals 1. Okay, it's going to take 1 away from it. All right, so that's going to, if you press down, it'll add 1 to the item selected. If you press up, it'll take 1 away. And if we do this now, this is going to look kind of cool. We can actually move around. You can see I don't like the yellow on the white. It's hard to see, I think. So I might change that colour. Or maybe I won't make those white. I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's okay. Well, we're going to do something else in a minute anyway. Okay, but the one problem we've got, actually, if I press down a few times, I can actually select items that don't exist. Okay, so we need a way. There we go. We need a way to make sure that they can't go off the screen, and we can use a function called mid for that, which basically returns the middle of these 3 values. So what we can do now is we can say item selected equals mid, right? 1, comma, item selected, comma, hashtag menu items. Okay, how about that for a statement? What that's saying is it's saying, right, the value needs to be 1, the current item selected, and menu items. So if it goes above either of those 2 values, if it goes below 1, or if it's less than or equal to, no, if it's below 1 or greater than menu items, then it will clamp them to those values, right? Okay, so it will take the middle of those values there. So now, if I'm right, we can't go down below help, and we can't go up above new game. So now we've got our selections there, right? And this is good. This is good, but we need, I think, for my money, I think we need to put a kind of arrow maybe to the left so you can see which one's set. So let's do that. Let's create an arrow sprite, shall we? I'm tempted then. We've gone for yellow, haven't we? Yellow. So let's keep with it. Let's create it. If we go into here, there's all sorts of tools here. I'm just literally going to use that, and I'm going to draw myself an 8x8 arrow. I think last time I didn't do a great job of this. That's not bad. That's not bad. All right, so just do that. No, that's that one though. That one. That one. That one. How's that? It looks a bit fat at the top, doesn't it? Oh no, I think actually I'll do that. Help me. Oh, I can't see what I'm doing. That looks wrong somehow. I can't. Yeah, so that one's gone. That one's too long. That one's too long, and something's weird because it's not the same height. No, because it's an 8x8, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to go with this for now. I'm going to trim that up later on. In fact, what I'll do, I'll do that. I'll trim this up later on. Yeah, see, that's diagonal. Look, hang on. Yeah, so I think what I need to do, I should just do it now. I think it's too long is the problem. Just for now, I'm just going to keep with that. We can change this arrow in a minute. I'm going to change the arrow in a minute. But for now, let's just go with that because this isn't about sprite design. This course, right? So, create a very very simple arrow. And what we'll do in our draw statement, which is where here, draw menu here. We've done all that. We've centered the text. Just before we do that bit there, let's just say SPR, which displays a sprite, and it's sprite 1. Just to show you why. This is if I just click there, you can see it's sprite 1. Okay, and we're going to put this, I'm going to guess on the X now, I'm going to put it on 20, and we'll use the same value over here for the menu item offset. I think we might need to go up a touch, we shall see. 20, that's, oh, and the colour. Oh no, we don't need the colour, it's already done. There we go, so let's just have a quick look. Okay, did I put I? No, it's not I, is it? It's going to be item selected. Alright, okay, because that's going to be the current one that's selected 1, 2, or 3 in the current situations, plus menu offset. Right. And now if I move, there we go, you can see that's moving up and down with the select item. So that makes it a bit clearer which one's done, right? So I think we can move the X across. Let's try 40. That's going to be too close now, isn't it? Yeah, I knew it. 35 then, 35. Okay, I can't help myself. I'm going to have to make that sprite a bit cleaner. So let's just do this. Let's just do this. No. So what have I done here? Hang on. Yeah, I think that's too many. So I need to stop. I need to stop here, and then come back down here. There, like that. Okay, so that's going to be better. I think that's going to be okay. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, I think that's fine, right? I think that's fine. I think possibly needs to come down up one, maybe. Maybe, because I'm being a perfectionist. Menu offset -1. Because that's fine. That's fine. So now look at this. Now we've got our menu. We can go up and down. And the good thing about our design right now is that because we've done the menu items like this, perhaps I could put another option that says high scores. Right. Press Control R. And now you can see the yellow thing's a bit close now, so we might want to think about moving that back left a little bit actually. But you get the idea, right? You can up and down here, and you can pick and choose which one you see. So it's quite powerful in that regard. So that's quite a pretty strong main menu, but it doesn't do anything. Right? I'm pressing X as it says down there to confirm, and it doesn't do anything. Well, that's no good, is it? So let's add some functionality to actually do that as well. And what we'll do, I like to do this. Make sure that I've done the listing out for the X button after I've done the item selected equals this bit here, just in case somebody's capable of somehow manipulating it so there's an item that's not there or something like that. So what we'll do now is we'll do the same thing. If button P, hang on, let's just button P, Shift X, then and we'll say, and now we need to look at each possible option, right? And we'll say if item selected equals 1, which is the first option, which is the new game, then we'll do an end there as well. Right, so there's nothing going on, but at least we're listing out for it now, and we're checking to see if it's the first option. So then we'll put here, what we'll do is we'll put a stop command in there. This is going to stop the system running, so we can at least prove it. Oh, before we do anything else, let's save it, shall we? So we'll call this save as Pico Defense. And if you just do that, it'll save it as a P8 file, okay, which is incidentally editable in a text editor. If you save it as a PNG, it won't be, but if you save it as a .P8, it's editable. All right, so now we can go back in. Oh, we don't do that. Okay, and now we can do stop. And let's just give it a go. So let's just press X on some of these other ones. Doesn't do anything, but when you go to new game and press X, okay, still got my command up there, but it stops the game. How about that? Now, we're only going to focus really on the new game at the moment. We can look at the options and things like that. I think options should be something along the lines of maybe increasing the difficulty. I don't know. I'm actually thinking this game maybe as well improves over time. So you can upgrade your general stats, your passive kind of skills on your turrets and stuff. So that if you play it again, you'll have a little bit more power. Maybe, I don't know. So games like Bloons and stuff like that do things like that, right? So you start off a little bit stronger each time you play. But there we go. We've got a very good looking main menu, but it doesn't do anything. Now, we've been talking about states, so I think it's fair that we should probably just create a very, very basic next game state. We'll call it game state. I'm only going to do this really just to show the principle of it, and we'll just have a game. We'll have a new state here called game state. Okay, and this is going to have those methods called function init game, end function update game, end, and function draw game. Okay, so again, this is a different state. If we look at our little thing here on the right hand side, this is our game state. The game state is not one state. There's more than one state. So I think we're going to need plenty. We're going to need what? So kind of I don't know what you call it. The kind of holding state where before you've said start wave, before the enemies start flying across the screen, you've got that state. You've got the state where they are, the wave is active, and you've got something like level complete, and you've got a game over state as well, right, where you're dead because you run out of health. So there's quite a few game states, right, that you've got yourself right there. But for now, let's just create one called init game, called game state, and let's create a very, very basic map here. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to create some shapes in the sprite editor here. We're going to start with the basic grass one, so I'm literally going to do that, and then I'm going to go here. I'm going to create a road, with the pen. I'm just going to draw. I think these colours don't contrast very well. And then I'll Control C, Control V, and I'll do one for going upwards instead. I just get rid of the two on either side, like so. So that's going up. For now, I was going to do corner ones, but I think that might take too time. What I'll do is I will speed this section up, but I'll make all of the corners as well. So we're going to turn around. So let's do that now. Right, so that didn't go quite to plan, I don't think. In fact, if I'm honest with you, I think I needed to maybe just Control C that over here, Control V, and I'll just move that one, Control C, Control V, and I can do Control X. I can. So now you can see that you've got the upper and lower corners there. And right, what I can do now is I can go over to my map here, and I'm not going to create, just in case this wasn't obvious, 128 pixels. These are 8 by 8, so you've got a 16 by 16 grid that you can use. But I'm not going to use it. I'm going to create a 16 by 12 grid, and that's going to leave me with 4 extra slots at the bottom, where I can put things like the menu, the items, the way to place the turrets, scores, upgrades, stuff like that. So that's what I'm going to put all in that section there, right? So I just need to be a little bit careful here. If you hold the space button down, by the way, you can see. You can get a feel for the grid size. Hang on, let me just need to check here. I think this shows each grid. I think so. If I just pop a few of these down, so 1, 2, 3, and let's just so you can see the size here, right? And it's not. Is it? Let me. No, that's still moving it. Is that okay? I think that's 16. There we go. And we're going to do 12, so we can just. I think it's that to there, right? There. That's it. And now we can just fill the rest in, right? Here. I think if I just do bucket fill now, boom. Right. And then let's put in some rows. So we'll just pop in one there. Oh, no, bucket fill. No, that one. So a couple of them. We'll just make this a bit. I need to zoom in a bit now so you can see the corners. In fact, on the corners, I might just put a little corner on there. But for now, we'll just go across like this, and then we'll have one going down, a couple down here, and then one. That one. A few going across, then one going up, corner one even, and then do a couple up, and then one more over there, and going back. There we go. So that's our amazing looking. Oh no, we need a couple more. Look. Let's double check. That should be 15. There we go. Can you see on the bottom there it says 15? Because confusingly this is 0 to 15, and that should be 11, which is right because there's 0 to 0. That makes 12 of them, right? So we've got a map here that our enemies are going to go around. We can vastly improve on this, right? This is a very, very basic game state that we've got right now. And what we'll do in our draw function is we will get it to map that. So the way it works is you say map. You put the starting position of the map, okay, and then you put the starting XY position on the screen. Oh, we're going to get CLS first, aren't we? Okay, and then you put the width and the height. So the width is 16, as we discussed, and the height is 12. All right, and that's not going to do anything right now because we're not in this state at this present time. Okay, we're not. We're still in the main menu state, so we need a way to transition from one state to the other. Right? So let's go back to our main state, our main tab here, and we'll create a function called change state. And we're gonna really improve on this in a minute, but for now we'll just say it's going to say new init, new update, and new draw. All right. And then we just put in here C init, so the current init equals new init. C update equals N update. Did I call it N update? Yes, I did. And C draw equals N draw. Right, and then we'll call C in it, a bit like we did earlier on, right? Just to make sure that the new initialize. I mean, there's nothing. It's not doing anything right now here, is it? But when we call it, potentially it's going to do a lot, right? Yeah. Not there. Sorry, here. So now what we can do. Let me just clarify again what this is doing, right? We're saying we're changing the state, so we're now going to put a reference to a new update, a new init variable, a new init function, a new update function, and a new draw function. Okay, and we're going to point our those functions there to the ones in this place, not here anymore. Okay, like I said, I will put the. Please put any comments in. Please put any comments, and I will do my best to respond to them. I hope that makes sense. But if you can play around with this, have a little go, see what you think. Point being, right now is there's no way of getting to this. But what we can do in our draw menu here, not our draw menu, in our update menu here, is we can say if item equals something. Now we're going to say change state, and we will pass those three functions in that it should change to, which was init game, update game, and draw game. Okay. So if they select the first option, it's going to change the state, which causes here, and it's going to create. It's going to literally move. These calls now to C update, C draw are going to be using the new ones, to the use transfer ones. Okay. So let's give it a go. Anyway, here we go. So watch what happens. Boom, it's popped up the new state. The state has now changed from the main menu state to the new game state, or the game state. There's nothing we can do now. We can't get back or anything. We didn't have any functionality to get back, but we have created two states. And I hope you can see that this is a really powerful pattern that we've done here. So we can easily move between those states and not have to kind of write really weird spaghetti code. And we can keep each state in a separate tab as well. Some people like to put all of the, so for instance, a lot of people would put all of the updates in one thing. They put all of the inits in another, and they put all of the draws in another. I think for me it makes sense to keep the code that you're going to be using for that state in the same place. But it's up to you. You can certainly do it the other way around. And again, so just Control R. We've got a lovely menu look with a system that follows up and down. I'm going to move that yellow thing there because it's already bugging me. And as soon as you click New Game, it moves to the next state. And we're gonna in the next episode we're gonna look at just maybe making the state transition a little bit smoother before we go headlong into starting to. It's coding the movement of the enemies, the placement of the turrets, all that good stuff is coming. I hope you've enjoyed this. I really do. I can't recommend this application enough. It's so much fun. It's worth every penny. It's just if you're using Unity or Godot and you're thinking this is just so weighty, come and give this a go. I think honestly, for the price of a few coffees, you've got yourself hours and hours of entertainment. Guys and girls, thank you very, very much indeed for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Please let me know how you're getting on. Until next time, goodbye.